here. Let's go live and see if it works. Go this way just a little bit more, so like we don't, our mics, like I'm having my shoulder cut out just a little bit. Dang, it doesn't seem like it's going. Oh, okay, we are live at least on TikTok.
Woo
So
woo,
that's
TikTok.
Great. We'll see if it works on the other platforms.
TikTok's my favorite platform anyway.
All right, and then I'm gonna get us started on Facebook now.
Perfect. Well, TikTok, until we go live with everybody else, we're here right now doing a live travel show. So what we cover, my husband Brian and I went on a 21 country trip around the world about a year ago.
And we're live on Facebook.
We're now live on Facebook. So welcome, you guys. We are here. My name's Seika. This is my husband Brian.
How you guys doing?
And we did a 21 country vegan voyage around the globe about a year ago. And so we're hosting this show. You can catch us on Facebook, live on TikTok, and then of course on our YouTube channel. We also are preparing to set this up as a podcast. The visuals are really helpful though. We often refer to content that we've created and useful links that you can find on our blog and other places like that.
We are up on Instagram too.
We're up on Instagram. How fun. Hi, Instagram. TikTok, of course, always coming through so strong. Love you guys. And so today what we're going to cover, we want to talk about some of our top travel hacks. This is a question we get asked all the time, is how do you do this well? How do you do this effectively? And so that's what we want to help share with people. We do have a particular lean to this sort of communication as we're vegan. So this is kind of how to travel if you have a specialized diet and some special tricks for people who are plant-based and how to do that so that you can thrive while traveling.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, the other topic, if we have time to get to it, we want to talk also a little bit about travel medicine. We do have a travel wellness blog that's up that has a lot of links and a lot more information. We tend to be, we love to do a lot of research. We love to understand what we're consuming and make really thoughtful choices about what sort of things we're consuming when traveling. So we put a lot of love into our travel wellness guide that talks about the different products that you can use and why and how they're great. So some of our top tips. Oh, I also wanted to let you know.
Yeah, we might be having some technical difficulties with Facebook, but I'm not sure how to troubleshoot that. I
Okay.
tried just resetting it, and we'll see if that works.
Okay. Well, hopefully it does. Otherwise, we'll do it for everything else, and we'll upload it
later.
We'll upload it to YouTube, and then always add it to Facebook later. So if it's not live now, we'll do it in a bit. So some of our top travel tips. One of the first ones that I don't hear other people talking about, but was really useful for us, especially because we are really social people. We love meeting new people and getting to connect with new friends. We reached out to the Facebook groups of the cities or the countries that we were going to before we went. So for us specifically, we thought it would be really wonderful to connect with other plant-based or vegan people. And so we would just search on Facebook a group. We would search the group, the title. So it would be like vegans in Egypt, right? Or I would just search vegan Egypt and see what would happen. And that would bring up a group, and we'd be able to reach out and say, hey, we're going to be in town. Would anybody like to meet up? Any tips that you can share about what to do while we're in your city? And that was really powerful. We made some amazing friends that way.
Yeah.
And we're also able, I think in this day and age, we're able to do so much through Google search. and we're like, oh, we'll just be able to find the cool, like, you know, what I really love is when you get to a new city and there's like a vegan food tour. We were able to do that in a couple of different cities. We did that in Hong Kong. That was an amazing one. We definitely linked to them in our Hong Kong blog. We got to do that in Spain. That was heavenly, and that's a really fun way to meet people, try great food, and you really do get a different experience when a local is able to give you advice and help you know what to do in that area.
Yeah, the Facebook group tip was a really good one that you thought of, I think, all on your own. Just, hey, let's reach out and connect to people in the area that have like-minded interests. And it came in handy in a lot of places. Like, one key one was in Japan, where there's not a ton of English in Japan, and they're not very plant-based there. And a lot of their labeling requirements are very different. And so we met up with someone and he told us that, hey, if you ever run into something you're not sure if this is vegan, all you have to do is just quick get on your phone, message the Facebook group with a picture of the label and say, hey, is this vegan? Can I eat this? And someone will respond like that. And so that saved us a couple times.
Yeah, and I encourage you, if you have other things that you're really passionate about, like maybe you're a CrossFitter, right? Like it's not limited to one specific thing. Search CrossFit Japan and go meet up with some CrossFitters in Japan. Or if you really like acro yoga. When we were there in Japan specifically, I was really impressed with how many people were out in the parks doing acro yoga. So if you have an acro yoga practice and you had the opportunity to connect with these other people in a totally different world, you don't even have to speak the language, but you're able to communicate enough to meet up and have a really special experience.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, so modify that to fit your own passions, and highly recommend that as a way to connect with people in other countries and make friends. A couple of specifically helpful for plant-based people. Happy Cow. If you aren't familiar with Happy Cow, get familiar. It's a great site. It's like Yelp for plant-based foods and ethical consumerism, and that's a really fun website. You can leave your own reviews, and it's also a great place to get connected with people.
And they also have the app too, which I think you have to pay a few bucks for it, but then it makes it easier to search on the go and whatnot.
Yep, that's really wonderful. Along a similar line, but a different twist, is A Billion Veg.
Yep. This is a newer company. We actually had the pleasure of meeting Vikas, the founder and CEO, I believe, of ABV, Billion Veg, and they are based out of Singapore. And so we met him when we were in Singapore, and they take a different twist to the vegan review scene than Happy Cow. They go more off of reviewing a specific dish, and so you can kind of search for your favorite type of food and favorite dish, and then they'll direct you to a restaurant in your area.
Yep, that's really awesome. That's a great tool to use. Also recommend Google Translate. Google Translate, you can download an app. Now, certain countries, it's really, really effective. Oops, I'm going out of the screen. And some countries, it's not at all. I had some really comical translations that we did in Japan where I'd be like scrolling over something and it would be like, I don't know. I got some really good ones so it was, Google Translate was not super strong translating Japanese. It was really strong translating Russian. So just, it kind of depends on the different country that you're in. I'm not sure why it was great sometimes and awful others, but that's a really good trick.
Yep.
If you have dietary restrictions or food sensitivities and you're like, oh boy, I'm going to be traveling, how am I going to communicate and get what I need? Pre-plan, write yourself a little card, right? So you can have it say something like, I don't eat, I can't eat milk or meat or fish or egg. And you write that out in the language of the country that you're going to and check it with somebody, one of your new Facebook friends that you were able to make through the, we were just telling you. check it and say, does this read correctly, and say what I need it to say. And then that way you don't have to try to butcher through every time you're trying to get food. You can just show your little card that's like, please help me find food that matches this description.
Yeah, that one's a really important one. I don't think we really utilized it very much, but I think there were a lot of times where we wish we would have, and a lot of vegans or people with other restrictions commonly carry these. I think it's worth typing them up before you leave on your trip, maybe even laminating them and just having them ready to go, because you kind of jump through a lot of the communication issues if you can just show this right to the waiter or someone taking your order.
Because part of it is that you don't, even if you have a basic understanding of the language, you don't always know the cultural differences between food labeling. For example, in Japan, I keep referring back to Japan, but it's just on my mind. In Japan, there was, like, we were at a curry restaurant, and there was a beef curry, a chicken curry, or a vegetable curry. And luckily we had been warned ahead of time that the vegetable curry just meant chicken curry that also has vegetables in it. So you had to order off a totally different menu. And if we hadn't been warned, we would have, I would have assumed if there's beef, chicken, or vegetable, vegetable's probably safe. So you gotta just be aware of the
really
the cultural differences.
Yep.
Yep. Another great one is get snacks right away.
Oh man, this one's critical. Like, as soon as you land in a country, especially if you're going to be there for a few days or more, just go straight to a grocery store and load up on your favorite snacks, especially the ones that are filling, nutritious, easy to pack, and that will really save you, because then you can always keep that in your backpack or in your pockets. And if you ever get into a pinch, you just, pull out some trail mix or something like that.
Yeah. So since we're talking about Japan so much, a great example is at the Tokyo airport, at the Haneda airport in Tokyo, there's a place called Healthy Tokyo. And it is so cool. It's plant-based. They have, they can make you hot sandwiches and hot coffee. And then they also have stuff that you can grocery shop. And so that's just a huge win. You land and you just, fill up your bag with snacks, with hearty treats that you can eat, because it can be really tough when you're in a new place. You're not used to the travel that you're doing. You're kind of uncomfortable, and now you're really hungry and you're hangry and you don't know where to get your next meal. That's a tough position to be in. So you just can kind of get ahead of that, set yourself up for success by having some snacks and hearty goodies in your bag.
Yeah, what are some of our favorites? We already kind of mentioned trail mix, so nuts, seeds, dried fruit, those are probably the easiest, best ones.
Yep. Bananas, always a winner, because they're kind of filling, they're sweet, and they don't travel super well, but.
I think we also usually pick up peanut butter.
Oh, so always.
Throw peanut butter right on that banana.
A bag of bread to keep at our hotel. Yep.
Yep. And depending on where you are, maybe even avocados.
Yep.
One of our favorite goofy travel hacks involves avocado toast. So if we're
this is a twofold. So one, those of you who know us, who watch our cooking show, or who have been following us on our adventures, or watch our YouTube channel, if you know us, you know we're obsessed with garlic. We love garlic. So we carry garlic powder with us all the time, because if you have a dish and you're like, oh, this is not great, add some garlic powder, boom, delicious.
Or maybe even garlic salt, because a lot of times places don't salt very heavily, and so you can just get 2 for 1 right there. Get that garlicky, salty flavor real easily.
Yep.
So, but we also, sometimes we're not so sure about what food we're going to be able to get, so we'll hit up a grocery store, we'll get some avocados, we'll get some bread, and we'll just be in a hotel room, and we don't have a kitchen really. We'll be lucky if we have a microwave. But what most hotel rooms do have are irons. And so we've done this in many places. We've actually sanitized the hotel room iron, and then we've taken our toast and basically made it into a panini or some toast using
your iron all the way up. Sorry to every hotel person who's watching being like, don't do that. It works.
We clean it before and after.
We clean it before and after.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
And then, you throw on your avocado, hit up with some garlic salt, and then bam.
It's really good, you know. I mean, we are millennials, so sitting here talking about how to have avocado toast no matter where you are is just,
Right.
you know, it just feels right.
Bit cliche, but you know, what are you gonna do?
Cliche for a reason,
Right.
you know. Okay, that's really important. Have good snacks. You can often find snacks if you're at the airport and you have an amazing place like Healthy Tokyo. Great. If not, you can often find markets on the side of the road. You want to be careful with how you manage buying fresh produce or anything that you're not going to cook at a proper temperature, just because our bodies are used to different sorts of germs and stuff in and on our food. So it's really great to be able to have, have a way to make sure it's clean. But you'll have to look at the specific country you're coming from and going to, and what sort of precautions you should be taking.
Yep.
Another tip for people who are looking to have exceptional plant-based travel. If you haven't, thank you for sharing. That's really fun. Let's see. Susanna? Is that a Susanna? I love that, the way your name is spelled.
On Facebook, appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate that. Vegan on the Map is a whole smattering of things. You can find them on Instagram, you can find their blog and website online, and we love this company. They set up some exceptional trips to wild places all around the world. And they're focused on ethical travel. They're focused on making sure that you're able to get really delicious plant-based foods. They accommodate different budgets, different levels. And they even have a new program coming out where they are doing digital nomad, or more like workers who are coming together. They're going to have amazing internet speed, and they're going to have an opportunity for people to kind of work together and collaborate on different projects. So check out, wonderful. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. So we're getting a comment on Facebook right now from Susanna, our friend in Russia, who saw our Instagram post on Matroshka Kroshka Cafe. Did I say that correctly, Susanna? You'll have to let us know. That's a restaurant in Budapest, and it is created by a Russian woman, and that's why the name is Matroshka Kroshka, which is the Russian nesting dolls. So, Very wonderful restaurant. We loved the vegan food in Russia. We had an exceptional experience. Love Russia. And also in Budapest, really great vegan food, really great vegan community.
Yeah, really, really cool.
So yes, Vegan on the Map is a great way to go on these vacations. They have a trip coming up to China. They have a trip coming up to Iceland, and they're planning to go to some special locations where you actually get to see the Arctic foxes.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to just have your heart melt, oops, I'm touching the mic. Sorry, everybody. If you want to just have your heart melt, go peruse some of their blog things and see the different trips that they have coming up. Oh wow, that's so cool, Susanna. Thank you so much for commenting along. So next, we wanted to, any other tips to share here?
Oh man, I'm sure we have so many more, but those are the big ones that come.
Yeah.
On the top of your head.
If you guys have any questions, you want us to talk about any specific thing, always feel free to reach out. You can connect with us most easily on Instagram or on the blog by posting a comment, and you can let us know what you'd like to see more of. We'd love to be sharing what you guys want to hear. So let's pop over to the blog, honey. Can you help us do that? We're going to show you.
We'll get there.
Yeah, for people who are able to watch visually, or watch, I guess that's redundant. We are now scrolling over to our blog, and this is our, there you go. This is our blog for,
let's get these bookmarks hidden.
Nice.
There we go.
This is our travel guide for health. So this has to do with all of the travel clinics that we looked into, the information that we gathered about what we needed to be consuming for our health. So we talk on this blog, we're showing this visually, but we also, for people who are just listening to the podcast, what we're covering is, we looked over malaria. We talked about malaria. Do you want to talk about that? I don't know if you remember, you were the one who studied up a lot about this.
I'll say a little bit about malaria. For all of this, have to speak with a qualified medical professional. We are not those people, so take all of this, just with a grain of salt. This is just our opinion. But depending on where you go, you'll likely be recommended to have an anti-malarial. And there are a couple different ways of doing this, and it kind of depends on where you're going, which one you'll do. But the big thing here that I would like to mention is that Malarone is like the really, really common one that you take right before, during, and after you're in an area of potential risk. And so it's really common for doctors to just prescribe that and just have you take it. The thing, Malarone is an antibiotic, and so it's basically taking an antibiotic as a preventative. And that may or may not be the best case because it's impacting your immune system at the time.
Can you go to our face so there?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So we chose to not take Malarone.
We did. We did get a prescription before we went, but what we did is we just had it available because antibiotics can be used preventatively, but we don't necessarily agree with that, but we can also use it as a treatment method. So we basically brought it with us and we said, hey, if we come down with any symptoms of malaria, we have Malarone ready to take and if we need it.
Yeah, so our general stance on medication after a lot of research is we generally love vaccines and really appreciate antibiotics and have a great fear and respect for them. So only use antibiotics if absolutely necessary, and that absolutely necessary comes up very rarely. And we want, when we do need to use it, if something really, really bad happened, we'd be able to, and our bodies wouldn't be resistant to them. So we want to do our part to help antibiotic-resistant bacteria not from coming around. So that's kind of our general take, but you got to figure that out for yourself. Do research. Highly encourage informed consent and informed choice when you're talking about medicine and how you're taking care of your health. You get to, I think everybody should study up and know the choices that they're making really well. So.
Yeah, because you can actually have an impact on the area you're traveling by taking those antibiotics. Because if everyone's taking them, it can create superbugs in the area and make it harder for the people who live there to be able to react to these diseases.
So all things to think about: ethical travel, ethical consumerism. It's not super straightforward, but it's worth figuring out.
Yep.
So typhoid, is another one that you will often have to get vaccinated for. You can take tablets or you can get a shot.
Yeah, I think the shot's only good for a couple years, but the tablets are good for like 5 years.
Yep.
And so I think most people end up taking the tablets.
Yep.
But it's a little bit more work because you have to take them over several days.
And they often upset your stomach.
Yep.
And then you scroll down here. I know it's not on the screen, but that's okay. We'll just do the audio. Yellow fever is another one that you often have to get done. We have some great links there. Bite prevention is key ways that you're able to keep yourself from even having any of this stuff.
Mosquitoes are how most of these diseases are transmitted. And so most people will most of these doctors will try to just speak about bite prevention. Just try to avoid getting bit in the first place as best you can, and then your risk exposure goes down significantly.
Yep, that's great.
Yep.
In this blog, we also talk about water filtration. Is this the right screen for it to be on?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Water filtration, there's some really awesome water bottles. Life Straw is not sponsoring us yet. LifeStraw, if you want to hop on, you are on our blog. That was really awesome, though, to have that option for having filtered water no matter where we were.
Yeah, because we were going to be traveling to so many countries where they don't recommend drinking the water. Even if the locals drink it, just our gut bacteria, is different, and so it might not feel very good for us. So we wanted to get water bottles that we could filter our water from the sinks as we go, and that really prevented us from having to buy so many plastic water bottles over the course of a trip.
Yep, that was really great. Some over-the-counter options. We were looking for vegan options. So there are some things that you would not have guessed aren't vegan. So the Dramamine, non-drowsy Dramamine for motion sickness, you can't get that as a vegan option. So you can get the Dramamine that does cause drowsiness. That one is vegan.
Yep.
But I mean, great. I'm not sick, but I'm asleep. It's maybe not the favorite.
Most medicines, or maybe not most, but a lot of them have lactose in the capsule or gelatin. So there's a lot of things that when I looked at the label, I was like, shoot, we actually, don't want to buy this.
Yeah, he was shopping for all our medicine. Every once in a while, he'd be sitting behind his computer and be, oh, crap, like this thing that we just kind of thought was a no-brainer, we now got to find another option for.
Yeah, so putting in votes for making medicine without needing animals to be harmed is pretty cool stuff.
That's right. So there's a really cool list of different stuff. Okay, yeah, here's some other good ones. Handsies wipes. Nowadays, that's even more, right? We're all so aware of germs and the new COVID kind of design. So we used these wipes made by a company called Handsies, and it's a soap and water in a little towelette. And we used those. They were so great for being on the go and having clean hands.
Yeah, we just packed those everywhere, and anytime we felt maybe not clean or we're about to eat, we just used it. It was really, really clutch because we preferred to not take hand sanitizer at the time, so that was nice.
Yeah, electrolyte mix powder, that's another great addition to have. We did get sick on the trip, and it was really nice to be able to get your electrolytes back up and to kind of get that energy boosted back into you.
Yeah, because really what we were trying to be prepared for is it's so easy to get sick while you're traveling, and it will hit you kind of out of nowhere, and then now you feel terrible, but you really wish you had some over-the-counter medication, but how are you going to figure out how to get that? It might be really, really inconvenient. So we wanted to have the key ones with us. So we had ibuprofen, acetaminophen, we had antidiarrheals, the electrolytes. There's a list of things that we had available, and that way when we got sick, we were ready.
Yep, that was really, really great. Also, blister bandages. Mm-hmm. That's really awesome when you're on a hike. Brian's always telling me to put it on before the blister's bad, so that my feet are protected. We did a lot of hiking on our trips, as you guys got to see, or will get to see if you're newly connecting. You can see a lot of our travels. We do have a blog for each of the countries that we went to, and we cover a lot of the stuff: where we ate, what we hiked, where we adventured, what sort of sights we saw. So we tried to really design it as an itinerary. Brian put so much thought, and he's so good at this, into planning our trip, that I was like, other people should get the benefit that I get of being married to him and just, designing this trip. So only that benefit.
Just trying to be prepared,
Yeah. So that's really great. We talk about birth control options on the site as well. This is kind of a funny one to talk about, but insurance will often give you, and people don't always think about it or talk about it, so we thought it would be really useful. Insurance will often give an extended vacation amount of your medication. So that's not just birth control. If you have other medications, that's good for too. And you can reach out to them and say ahead of time, hey, I'm going on this trip. Can I get 3 months, please? And they'll tell you kind of the process you have to go through for that.
It is kind of a long process. I would recommend starting that maybe a month or so before you leave, because there might be some back and forth with your pharmacy and your doctor to be able to actually get these extra medications.
Yep, so that's a little bit about our medications and some of our best travel hacks. If you guys have any questions or you have other things that you'd like for us to talk about next time that we do this travel show, which will be next Friday at 2 p.m.,
Yep.
hit us up on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram at For Goodness Sakes. That's FORGOODNESSSEYKS. Wherever possible, we'll put it in the show notes, but we are streaming this through TikTok. TikTok, I love you guys so much, but there's nowhere to put notes. This is just, once it's gone, it's just over, so you just have to be here when you're here. But you can find us on YouTube. All these will be streaming on YouTube, and we will have the podcast up soon.
Yep.
Anything else?
Oh man, I don't think so. But yeah, hit us up if you have any questions or any content you want us to go over. We want to be able to share all the many things that we learned on our trip, and that's why we're here. So just, for the sake of goodness, and thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining. Next Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, we will be doing a live travel show. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite travel items, and we are going to be talking about one or two of our hidden gem locations. So there were a couple, I'm trying to get my fingers to show up in the...
There you go.
There we go. There are a couple of locations that we were like, nobody talks about this, and it's amazing. So we're going to highlight those and some of our top travel items. Thank you guys so much for joining. You guys are so important to us, and we want to make sure that we get to share this joy with you all. And Susanna, thank you again so much. For anybody who didn't see our cooking show just 2 hours ago, that was super fun. We cooked some vegan fried rice, and you can find that on the Jane Unchained network. We also do live cooking shows.
On Facebook.
Yep, Jane Unchained on Facebook. So thank you all. Talk to you again soon, and stay safe out there.